Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. We're checking in here today. We're in Dallas. We're filming at IRE. I wanted to go to IRE today, but there was a line that was out the fucking door that was going to take 3 hours. So I left. Today, I'm super excited. We have a special guest today. Josh Bigger's here. Josh, thanks for being here, brother.
How's it going, brother?
Yeah.
This is a long time.
It has, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known each other for a hot second.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is, and we'll get into who you are and all that bullshit here in a minute, but what's cool is I remember when we first kind of got introduced, it was maybe 4 years ago.
Maybe even longer.
SVG,
right?
Yes. And I was up for some award, and I think Paul connected me with you.
Paul Reed, yeah.
Yep, to have you do a video for us because we were up for Top Growth or something.
I do smear campaign videos.
Yes,
right?
and you did a smear campaign video. You haven't seen this, Lexi. And so I hired Josh to make a video, and it was funnier than shit. But then my competition then hired you.
I was playing both sides.
You were playing both sides. It was pretty chicken shit. But you got hired by the other side, and then it became a whole thing because they were like shitting on my grandma.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember they came to me like, we want you to make fun of his grandma. Like, it's your own funeral, bro. But I will. He paid the dues. And I mean, every video they made said I had no part of any I didn't contain any views that they may have shared.
But they 100% lost because they shit on my grandma.
Oh, yeah. I pretty much set that up. Like,
yes.
You want to make fun of someone's grandma? Like, I will.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
but you are going to
your grandma's a sweet lady. I was paid to do that. I want to say sorry to your grandma for that.
That was so funny, though.
But your video was even better. Because you're like, who the fuck makes fun of someone's grandma? Like, It was like, I knew you. I just teed you up to knock these guys out of the park.
Well, because then remember we got my grandma on it.
It was so adorable.
And she goes, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Like, I got a slow clap. I remember watching that.
It was so funny. We have to find that because I don't even know where it's at.
I have them somewhere, and I did so many. I did dozens of these things for SVG. So people would want to smear people, and we'd make these asinine videos.
Can you find them?
I have a few of them. I did them from Restore Master. I'll look for them.
Man, I'd love it if you did, because I have no idea where to find it.
I could probably find them on one of my hard drives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that would really make me happy. I would love to find that.
I've made thousands of videos over the years, so I've tried to keep some of them. I've lost them, but those were special. Those were private videos.
Right.
So that was like, I'd make these really stupid videos on my YouTube, but those ones were like, people would call me like, hey man, I know you can fuck some shit up online and be a complete asshole. Like, yeah, I can do that. Like, what's it cost? I'm like, it's $500 for a minute video. They're like, sold. Right? Like,
you were just dishing out minute videos for $500.
Yeah, I'd make like $2,500 before I even went to the
before
shows.
you even got there. Yeah.
And everyone loved me for making fun of them. Like, all I have to do is make fun of you and you're gonna pay me. Like, I got this.
That's hilarious. Are you going back there this year?
Actually, I spoke with one of my old sponsors. I used to work with Contractor Supplement Solutions.
Yep.
So they used to hire me to do marketing for them. And due to the pandemic, travel was restricted, as everybody knows. And I seen them today, and they're like, hey, man, are you going to SVG? I'm like, no, I'm staying right here. I'm like, unless you want to write a check, and I'll sing and do stupid things and act like an idiot for money.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a roof whore.
Stick with what you're good at.
So they're like, you're not working next week? I'm like, oh, I could make it happen. So I might be at SVG. So I'm waiting to hear from Jordan, the owner. And we've done work before, just that we've been delayed. So this is my first year back at IRE. Since the pandemic, right?
Did they even have it last year?
They did, but okay, the thing of travel last year, like you didn't know if your flights were going to get canceled. You didn't all this repercussions of traveling, so everybody kind of stayed back. And then this year, the floodgates are open, and you can see by the volume.
And you can't get in the goddamn thing.
That was the fucking stupidest fucking thing I've ever fucking seen.
Dumbest shit ever.
Oh.
Like we were talking about this before, but it was just the most unorganized bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
It was like a line for the Super Bowl.
Yes,
and it's like.
But even then, I've been to the Super Bowl. I got in very quickly to the Super Bowl.
Some old lady named Margaret's out there like, what's your name, sweetie? Like, oh my God, like they're like, it's 2-3 hour wait.
Yes.
I'm like, so I snuck in. I'm like, I ain't fucking wait. You know who the fuck I am? I'm big time.
Yeah, I have a green jacket on, motherfucker.
Yeah, actually. And I reek like beer and stale cigarettes. Let me the fuck in.
So tell everybody, I'm curious. We've talked a little bit about this, but like, it's funny. You called me before we were going to meet up. And actually called me while I was taking a shit.
Oh, the best time to talk to a dude.
Yep. So, but we were talking on the phone, and you're like, "So, who do you want to show up?" And I was like, well, I want fucking Josh to show up. Like, I want to get to know Josh better. I want my audience to get to know Josh better. But that being said, I do want to know, where did BDR come from? Where did Best Damn Roofer come from?
The Best Damn Roofer is kind of like a collection of myself along with other roofers and other stories that I've met along the way. Like, I was pretty troubled. I mean, you have the same kind of story. Yeah. Younger, doing things you shouldn't be doing, acting like a fucking idiot. So BDR is kind of like what I'd become if I didn't straighten around and get, take things seriously. And it's also stories that I've heard throughout the years of being in the roofing industry and things I've seen.
Yeah.
Right. So like the spray paint in the fucking can, fixing siding with spray paint. Like, I've seen that shit. Guys like, oh, I fucked up the guy's siding. Instead of telling him I wrecked his siding, I need to be $1,000. It's a 2-story dormer. If I spray painted that brown, you might not see it. And then, so like, oh, fucking siding in a can, right? So I make a stupid video embellishing on that topic, but it's something I've seen in the industry, right?
What made you want to start that persona, though?
Me and my wife talked about it, Tanya, if everyone knows who Tanya is. We're not actually divorced. Right. Right, which is a gimmick we play. People always ask me that. She's a sweet lady.
I had a lot of fun getting to know her a little bit. Remember we went bowling?
Yes,
and played fucking bingo or some shit. Yeah.
So she was supposed to come, but she got turned around at the border, so.
That'll happen.
It happens. Like, you're at the border, you're like, your wife's not getting light over. I'm like, see ya, honey. I'm like, see ya. So she and I would talk about it. I'm like, the roofing industry has like no heroes. You got like, there's people online doing like Mike Holmes construction. There's other framers. There's plumbers that have these pages. I'm like, but there's no roofer. But I didn't want to be serious because the roofers wouldn't accept it. So I had to be. And roofers, they might, they're crazy. Let's put it that way. So I was just like, let's put this video out where I'm smoking pot. And I wrote this shitty little song on my iPhone that I used GarageBand to edit it. And I put it out. And I videoed me smoking pot and drinking beer on the roof. And it was a charity roof we were doing for a less fortunate family. So it was a freebie roof. I'm like, can I smoke a joint and drink beer on your roof? She's like, yeah, you gave me a fucking free roof. Of course you can. Do whatever the fuck you want up there. So I went up there, wrote this song, filmed it on my camera, and I did my terrible editor. I've never done that editing before.
What was the first song?
Best Damn Roofer.
Oh, okay.
Best Damn Roofer in the whole damn line. Best Damn Roofer from here to Afghanistan.
Okay.
And we just went out, and the first day got 5,000 views. Like, huh? And this is like 10 years ago, when 5,000 views was actually quite a bit on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck! And then people were like, you're funny. Like, keep doing that. So I just started making stupid fucking videos, and like, of course, trying to come up with ideas. At first, we were just like, I'd walk over to one of my employees and like fart on his head, like childish, like adolescent humor, right?
Because to be clear, you are a roofer.
Yeah, I roof every day. Yeah, I'm a bigger roofing. I'm a sales rep for several different companies. And I do roofing. I probably roof till I can't anymore, right? I like to do sales now, slowly progressing out of roofing, but I'm not going to quit till I'm ready, right? So we just started making fucking stupid videos, and it just started growing, and then people liked it, and then the homeowners enjoy it. They're like, we'll hire him just to make a funny video. It's awesome, right?
Do they?
Oh yeah, people will hire me just because I'm an asshole.
That's hilarious.
And they're like, they'll like bring me beer. Like, you wanna do this? Like, can you do a video? Like,
really?
Do you want me to get wasted on your roof? Like, fine. Hey, you get what you pay for.
You
right?
get what you pay for. Yeah. Fucking lines.
But usually the videos, like the people that I'm like not fucked up. I have like one or two beers. The editing's a motherfucker, right? You can make anything look possible with the fucking editing.
Right. Yeah. So, and to be clear, like, and that was something we were talking about earlier. Is like, you're not him. Right? Like, you're Josh. Like,
I'm a crazy guy.
You're a crazy guy, right? Like, we all are a little bit, but like you have a family, and you know what I mean? Like, you've got kids.
5 children.
Yeah, you got 5. Like, that's fucking wild. 5 kids. I have 1, and I'd blow my brains out if I had a second one.
Well, no, it gets easier, buddy. Trust me. The more you get.
Yeah. Tell my wife that.
Yeah, my wife's at home with my kids.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Yeah, it's easy then, isn't it? Yeah. But like, you're a family guy. Like, I mean, you're like a good
family
dude.
Guy, totally family guy.
You're not literally getting fucked up on roofs all day.
No.
Just like half the day.
I actually don't drink that much on a roof. Like, I'll occasionally have a beer for lunch.
Sure.
And I smoke pot. Yeah. So I'm a cannabis user. I had a license for years. I had a medical license. So I use cannabis for pain. I've had a lot of injuries over the years.
Yeah.
So that I will smoke Jones. I think most roofers do, and I usually, like, if a roofer doesn't smoke pot, I'm like, are you a roofer?
Are you a roofer?
Yeah, like roofers usually, like, that's just their thing, right?
Right.
And if a guy can smoke pot and roof and he's good, he's comfortable, right? So if you smoke your joint, he works for 8 hours, doesn't say fuck a boo, go ahead.
Yeah.
But drinking doesn't have that. Guys that drink aren't as good when they're drinking, obviously.
It's totally different.
It's totally different substance, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't actually get wasted on the roof.
So I was never a weed guy. because I was a big coke guy.
I've done that too.
I was a huge coke guy. And so like I was the guy, I remember I was hauling trailers to the dump and shit, and I wouldn't have slept all fucking night. And I would go jump in my truck, hook up 8-ton in the back in a trailer and drive it to the dump like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how I didn't die. I mean, hauling a trailer like that is like a bad fucking idea, right? But I was never the weed guy because I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I'm high strung. I'm very hyper.
Right.
So the weed always, it brings me down. It makes me focus a little bit better.
Right. I mean, and I'm naturally like introverted. I'm naturally like stay back, kind of check the scene, find out what's going on. You know what I mean? Like kind of guy. And so I was the coke guy because I needed that to get me out of my shell.
Yeah.
Right. And if I smoked weed, I just went further
into that
shell to hide. And so I thought that using blow fucking made me the guy.
Until you do too much blow, then you're like, can't talk, and you're back to where you were again. You're like, what's wrong with that guy?
Then you're a problem.
Spooky looking guy. Yeah. I've been there. I did a lot of coke. That's what Joshy the Blowman, the video I made.
Yes.
It's about myself, right?
Right.
So I used to I used to sing that song to my buddies when we do. There goes Joshy, right? I fucking
bumpity bump. Look
at Joshy go, right? So
that's hilarious.
So I mean, I've fought all my demons off. I mean,
yeah.
A lot of people don't know, and we spoke about this. I wasn't drinking in the first few years of the VDR videos, right?
Yeah.
We do like fake beers. Even some of the videos that we do are near beer. Like if you see me drinking in a car,
right.
I'm not actually drinking and driving. Fuck, I can't lose my license.
Right. Like every other roofer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, I could lose. You don't even need a license to drive.
No, you don't. You just need a license if you get pulled over.
Yeah, exactly. It's just paperwork, right?
So, that's all it is. What I really want to know about too, though, and we were touching on it before the interview, was I'm very intrigued by your other purpose and your other mission with their Mr. Freedom and everything that you're doing up in Canada. Like, tell people what you're doing with that, because I know that it's cool, it's getting a lot of attention and blah blah blah, but you're like very passionate about it and really give a fuck about what's going on, and like you want to be able to instill some kind of change.
Yeah, we basically the changes. I want to change the way the governments interact with society. They need to be held accountable. Politicians need to be held accountable. It's this oddest thing that we allow these people to rule our lives, but they're not accountable for anything they do.
Right.
Imagine reversing that into our lives and saying you're not accountable for your roofing. Your fucking roofs can leak.
Right.
You can do whatever. You're not accountable, but we are. And everyone should be accountable for their actions. And that's one of the things that we need to change, especially after the last 3 years. So when the truckers came to Ottawa, I was like, "Fuck, I'm there," because I was doing protests.
Because what was the story behind that? Just for everybody listening, like what was the deal with the truckers again?
The truckers just went there to protest to Ottawa. So they gathered from all parts of the country and they convoyed up. There's ones from all over the nation.
And what were they protesting?
Trying to stop the mandates, right? Because the mandates weren't down yet. They've been stopped everywhere else.
Got it.
And we were still pushing the vaccine on people. They were still much.
And the truckers took it upon themselves to.
Well, the truckers were getting vaccinated. Some were losing their jobs because they couldn't cross the border.
Oh, because they couldn't cross the border.
And the truckers, it wasn't the first time in Canada where truckers have came together because they don't use the TABR. They have the CBA.
Right.
So they have this whole network where they can work together, and they did a peaceful protest, but they can really fuck shit up with these trucks. They just show up. Holy fuck! There's thousands of trucks. Well, they're in your city, and they wanted to have discussions with the government, and the government was so arrogant, and they didn't talk to them. They just let it happen for 3 weeks. They wouldn't talk to the people, and then they used force on everybody. And they released the War Act, which would be martial law.
Oh, really?
So I got pepper sprayed, hit, beaten, just for doing peaceful protesting, which is one of our fundamental rights as a Canadian, which they were stripped away. So that when that happened, when the truckers were removed, I stayed there until they fucking beat us and sprayed us. And then I continued to rally in towns across the country and get people motivated on this is our fundamental rights. This is what my grandfather went to war for. This is what people died for. That this piece of paper that says you want to protest and you want to stand in the street with a sign with your flag, you fucking can. And they can't sit there and spray you fucking with pepper spray and beat the fuck out of you because you don't want to do what they say. Right. So I mean, I thought it's massive to me because we have children and I have to raise in a country that they're taking these fundamental rights away, and we're all guilty of not understanding how important these rights were until they take them all away.
Right.
So I'm still fighting. They're still pushing on their people, right? They're still trying to take things away. Now they're implementing digital ID. They want digital currency. This is all for control, right? They also want 50-minute cities. So everybody got jabbed to travel, right? Well, now they want to have 50-minute cities where they're going to have travel restrictions.
What do they call them?
15-minute cities. So you're going to be traveling within a 15-minute radius. So you're going to be bound to that town.
Really?
And they're all signing up for it, yeah.
Why? Who's signing up for it? The cities? So
the people that are in parliament or their government or their MPs, oh, this is a great idea. It's going to lessen the carbon footprint. All these, they got Greta Thunberg. They paraded her around Canada crying about fucking climate change. And then they vote these liberals in that, push these agendas on us. And they're still doing it. It's getting worse and worse every day. And people don't know, it's not bad. It's still a free country. Like, well, no, they force you to take vaccination. They tell you can't leave your house, or unless you take their drugs. They tell you got to take it. You're going to lose your job. Now they're telling you you're not going to leave your city. Right? There's so much restrictions. We used to live in a free country. It was just 3 years ago where we had this total freedom, and it's not there anymore. Right?
And I don't understand exactly. I have not studied Canadian government, but like, how long has Canadian government been that far left?
So, I mean, in my opinion, they're all in the same boat together, whether it be Democratic,
they all
Republican.
Want control. Yeah, absolutely. They're all fucking garbage.
But when Justin Trudeau came in, they switched parties. So it went from a conservative party to a liberal party.
So it was a conservative party at one time.
The conservative party that was in power, there's only a few good people in the party. It's the same. They're working for the globalist elites.
Right, yeah.
And they're trying to push all these agendas on.
Yeah.
And they're doing it through politicians, right?
Right.
Like, Klaus Schwab. Right,
yeah.
The WEF. So basically, everybody in Parliament in Canada is working with the WEF, and they're proud of it. The Klaus Schwab brags about it.
Really?
They was, this is going to be a good thing. It's globalists, right? Like, no. We had a nice little country that we were self-sustainable. We didn't need. We have tons of resources. We only have 36 million people in the country. We have just as many people as Texas has in the whole fucking thing, and we're bigger than the whole fucking U.S. of A.
Right.
Like, so we've really been infiltrated by an elite globalist agenda.
So is your mission to stay there and try to fix things?
Dig my heels in, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about running to Florida or Texas. I had plans. I sold a couple properties that I own. I was like, I'm going to move, and I'm like, if I move, they're just going to come there and do it there too.
Right.
So what's the point of moving? Just dig your heels in and do it right here, and I literally fight the government on every angle I can.
And you've got a lot of attention for it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of bad attention too. I have death threats, everything else. Yeah.
But a lot of attention. I mean, but you've had a lot of news outlets pick it up. I mean, you showed up looking like fucking Braveheart.
Okay, well, the story is I showed up as big time the first day, right? But I didn't want anyone, because they were trying to portray the convoy as a bunch of degenerate assholes and bad people and racists and you name it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, if they look at my YouTube, I'm going to be exactly what they fucking need. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And I went live the first day on my Best Damn Roofer page in Ottawa. I went live, and they shut my page down. They deleted my TikTok with 300,000 followers. Right, they shadow banned my Best Damn Roofer, so I couldn't, because I had too much followers. They didn't want me showing. Right, they're like, fuck it. So I got shut down, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking go in here and paint my fucking face red and put a fur coat on. Yeah. And they shut me down, and then I was on every tabloid across the world for 12 months. So they tried to shut me down. I was like, I'm like genital warts, motherfucker. I don't go away. You burn me off, I come back. When I do, it's fucking worse the second time. Right? I love that. When I saw that, I was like, this is gonna be a fun journey. Do you feel like anything is changing? Well, yeah, we did. We dropped, the mandates were dropped right after they cleared everyone out of Ottawa. They did. They said it wasn't the movement, but of course not. Right? Obviously, it was. The whole world was watching. Right. Right. And as soon as they cleared us out of Ottawa, I was like, look at Ukraine. There's a war here that's going on for 20 years. Right. 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 So what is the next 5 years for Josh look like? Like what we have planned, like I'm working with Primeline Tools. I'm doing tool development. I have my own tool. Yeah, you told me about that. That's exciting. Yeah, talk about that. Yeah, it's really cool. I got my own tool line coming out. So we revamped the Ripper that's got some other designs to it. It'll be my own patent. It's going to be, there's one out now. That's not the one with the pocket pussy, right? That's a different, okay, all right, I actually tried to get them to sell it, but they're too corporate. They're like, no, can't do the pocket pussy. We got to do, what did you call that? The hammer holster. Hammer holster, yeah. The hammer holster. So imagine this, you're at a stag shop where sells fucking dildos and everything else, and 3 roofers come in there we're dirty from off the roof. Like, do you guys have any synthetic vaginas? And the girl's like, yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah, you had to do that. Yeah.
So I had to get everyone thinks the video is funny, but the most funny part of it was going to buy the actual thing to make the video. And the girl working there is like, what the fuck are these greasy ass
Did you tell her what you were doing?
Yeah, we kind of have. We're making a fun video. And then she saw it, and they wanted to like give me like, you can come in anytime and get like free stuff for you and your wife. I'm like, I don't need a dildo. I got a perfectly good penis. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd rather
perfectly good pussy.
Yeah, and I'd rather fuck my wife's vagina than the synthetic one that I have to self-lubricate or have to lubricate. Right?
You haven't seen that video, have you, Lex? Yeah, I'll find it for you.
As endearing as it sounds, I'd rather fuck my fist than a rubber vagina.
Yes, that's fair. Sorry, go on. Next 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be working with Primeline Tools for tool development. We actually have a full-on production company now. We've been doing commercials for several different companies.
Okay.
Primeline's one of them. I'm a sales rep for Diamond Shingles as well, and I'm just working with a few other companies to get contracts, and just probably going to do marketing and media.
Okay.
Right. So we've invested into equipment, much like you have.
Yeah.
And we're just making content for people. Right.
So out of all of those, what are you the most passionate about?
I still love roofing, bro.
Okay.
Still love my shingles, my diamond shingles. I love putting my metal roofs on. I love being alone on the roof. I love being outside.
Yeah.
I just love doing my thing, and that's kind of why I've been roofing for...
Yeah, when did you start roofing?
The first summer was in grade 8. I started working for Cooley Construction, carrying bundles. And that would have been 28 years ago, man.
How old are you?
41.
Okay.
Right? That's right. 28 years ago? Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know. I don't do math.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's why we have accountants.
The only thing I know is half ball, half quarter, right? Like, I can count grams and shit like that.
But I can't do math.
It's fast 10, I can't go.
No, I'm fucked. No, because I started when I was like 10 or 11 with my grandpa, and I remember the first time I had to haul bundles. I can't remember how old I was, but I'll never forget pulling up to this job, and he ground dropped. And in Nebraska, they will fucking roof load everything for you, right? Other states, they won't. They ground drop everything, whatever. But in Nebraska, like, you can get them to throw a conveyor, and they fucking throw the bundles, and they load them on the goddamn roof for you, right? Yeah. I'm like 13, 14 years old, whatever I am, and I show up, and there's 30 square sitting on the ground, and I was like, why the fuck? And he goes, I want to carry all of them up. And I'm like, you could have gave them $100 and they would have loaded them on the roof. And he's like,
you 80.
Yeah, he didn't give me shit. He was like, just fucking carry them. I'm like, okay. Last time I ever fucking carried bundles, I'll tell you that. But he made me do all that kind of shit all the time just to learn how hard the work is for the guys that end up working for you later down the road.
Makes you appreciate what
it really does, right? There's a story that I tell all the time about when I was a kid. I lived with my grandpa, right? Yeah. And he, it obviously snowed a lot in Nebraska, and we'd get a big snow, and he went and bought a brand new snowblower sitting in the driveway. And we got fucking 12 inches of snow or whatever it was. And I go out and I'm getting ready to fire up snowblower. And he goes, no. He's like, the shovel's yours. I'm like, fuck you mean? You just bought that. You asked me to clear the snow. And he's like, no. He goes, you ain't earned the snowblower yet. And I had to shovel my ass off for 2 years before he'd even let me touch the fucking snowblower.
You learn a lot that way, right?
You do, man. Like
even we used to teach guys when we used to shingle, was you make them hand bang. You get a gun, you don't get a fucking gun yet. You put it on straight with the fucking hammer and nail, and then you can get a gun.
Right. And I didn't do a lot of shingling because I grew up doing hot tar. Oh, gross. So I ran a kettle. I fucking pulled them off. I used to spud fucking gravel off and then pour and lay felt, and that was just how I grew up, and that was normal to me, right? And like in the winter, you wanted to be the kettle guy because you could sit there and stay warm.
Get cancer.
Yeah, just breathing in the fumes and everything. That was what I grew up doing. And I shingled like 3 houses, and I was the slowest goddamn shingler you've ever met in your life. And I remember I hand nailed like a couple of them, and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah,
but it makes you terrible. But it makes you appreciate those guys. You know, if there's people watching that are in the industry, it's like, man, don't take those fucking guys for granted, right? Like the guys that treat those guys like gold are the guys that succeed. Yeah, I think.
Well, you got to if you have a crew working and they're working good, if you got to treat them, and you got to understand what they're going through too, because some days they're going to have bad days, and they're not going to. You're going to have to be a little more lenient than others, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I work alone. I'm usually a hard ass on a roof because I'm there. So, like, I'm not the bomb in the fucking
You're in
trenches.
The shit.
Taking grenades in the trenches with you.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Toughen up, pussy.
Yeah. Because it's hard fucking work.
Yeah. I got my daughter working with me now.
Yeah, you said that. So she's 15?
She's 14.
14.
She turns 15 in June. So she's been in a few videos. She started laying the diamond. I don't get her shingling. I have to start doing the metal. So I'll stencil it and I'll cut the edges and she can fill in.
So was that her idea or yours?
She's I have a pretty close relationship with all my kids, and she's the oldest. Yeah. And she was always on roofs. She's from a previous, right? So I had her a lot as when she was younger.
Okay.
So like I have pictures of her like in a harness, like 7 years old, like sleeping on a roof, like
really?
illegal shit that you wouldn't share, right? But that's just a roofer's story, bro. Like she wanted to be with her dad, so get her up the ladder, and you sit there, and she's just happy.
So let me ask you that. My daughter's 7, and I wanted to do that, obviously, right? Did you teach her to climb a ladder? Did you throw her on your shoulder and carry her up?
I taught her to climb a ladder. So I climbed her with it in between, and then I had a rope set up with her, and she'd lock in at the top of the rope.
Okay.
Right. So
I was just trying to figure out how to do that.
So I even had my 7-year-old went on my 2-story roof with me today.
Okay.
Or the last week when I roofed my own house.
Okay.
I had an addition we were building. It's home.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. It's not, right. You know, a lot of it's maybe seen by a lot of people as something that you shouldn't do, but I don't think it's not really illegal.
I ran a kettle when I was 14.
Yeah. So I brought her up there. I brought all my kids on the roof. So she's sitting there and just stay right here in the center of the roof. Dad's shingling. She's happy. Watching Dad roof.
That's awesome.
You're playing my phone. She just wanted to be up there with Dad. So
yeah, that's cool.
I've done it with all my children. Right? All the kids have been involved with me working.
Have they?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It really teaches. It teaches people something, right?
They know what Dad does too. Like, Dad's got to work hard for the money, so they appreciate.
Right.
You know, we want to go for dinner, and your Dad's going to buy $200, $300 dinner to feed our family.
Right.
Well,
they learn to appreciate it. Yeah.
These hands.
My daughter has not learned to appreciate money yet.
They'll get there.
I'm
well, it's your job to make her.
I know,
do that,
and
right?
I'm starting to now. Like we're starting to get her to work to earn, and then I'm going to make her start spending her money to buy things to understand. Like, oh, you want a game that costs $60? That's however many weeks of whatever you need to do, because she just thinks, well, Dad, just go buy it.
Yes, go
and
get it.
I'm like, fucking Dad's broke, bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But your mom's expensive too, and you're fucking expensive.
Yeah, well, I got 5 women in my life, include the wife and a son. So
you got one son?
One son was our last child. Was
okay, one son, and how old's he?
He just turned 7.
Okay, so they range from 17 to 7.
14 to 7.
14 to 7. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, so one thing that I do want to touch on a little bit is the reason that I obviously started this podcast was because it's funny that I have you on to have this conversation, because I started the podcast because somebody had me on one and thanked me when I was done for being the same person in the green room as I was on camera, right? Yeah. Which is basically me and you talking before the show and being on here, right? And I was like, I can't believe that's not a thing, right? That like, it just shocked me. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just be authentic to who you are? Because that's what people are going to be drawn to. And if they're not drawn to it, well, then fuck you. I don't align with you, and I'm not going to spend any time with you, right? And I always like to ask guests, like, what authenticity kind of means to them and why they care about it. Because you wouldn't be here if you didn't think that it was a real thing. Right?
Yeah, like, I mean, I stay true to, like I'm a family man. I mean, and that's, like, these people online nowadays, you see them, they got these Facebook, and like, their lives aren't that good. They're not being, like, so many people aren't being authentic. If you go on social media, they're afraid to show the bad stuff. And that's one of the things with my channel. I like to show the bad stuff. Someone can't, you're going to call me a fucking idiot, you're going to call me a fucking retard? Oh, you don't think I didn't call myself that? Right? You can't hurt my feelings, right?
Right.
So these people they're not being authentic, they're afraid of something.
Correct.
Right? So I'm not afraid of many things. I mean, I fear losing one of my children or a family member, right? But other than that, I mean, don't be afraid of being yourself.
Right.
That's then people don't know who you are. You don't relate with anybody. You can't be a good salesman. You can't be a good father.
You can't make connections with people.
Yeah, because you're being something you're not.
Right.
And someone that's authentic won't connect with you because you're phony, right?
Right.
Or if you're trying too hard, right? Right. Like, you got to say fuck more. I don't care what anyone says.
I don't either.
Fuck.
Fuckity fuck. And actually, that brings up another point on something that you mentioned that I actually wrote down that I wanted to ask you about, because I haven't had an opportunity yet, I don't think, Lexi, correct me if I'm wrong, but with anybody in the studio to ask this question to that would understand, I think, the question. Have you ever, truthfully, sincerely, have you ever been offended? Because I have an answer to this.
Everyone will get offended. I get offended? No. But I mean, like say somebody writes to me and they're like, I fucking want your kids to die, and they're naming your kids off and telling them they want to, like.
That's different.
And I'm like, I'm not really offended. I'm
right. But see, that's not being offended. That's being pissed. right?
I don't think I've really ever been offended because I always appreciate humor. So I have this one saying, we have this saying in our home, and we're like, everything's funny or nothing is fucking funny at all.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, I've been hurt by some people say stuff like they want to, you know, but have I been offended? No, and I don't really show it that way. But I've had some things that have taken me back. Like,
sure,
oh, you want to kill my children because
right.
I stood up for fundamental rights and freedoms of Canadians? Like,
right.
That's weird.
Right.
Right.
But that's not being offended.
Yeah, I guess
right?
so.
Like, that's different. And the reason that I asked the question
I guess.
is that because we've become we're living in a culture now where everybody thinks it's their right to be offended.
Yes.
And I don't understand that, because to your point, like, I've been upset. I've had my feelings hurt, right? I've had my feelings hurt. Like, when I was growing up as a kid, fucking everybody called me fat and, you know, like all this shit. Like, I've been hurt as a human, right? But I've never been like, offended.
Yeah.
Like, everybody today thinks that they have this right to be offended and that their opinion is the only one that fucking matters. And because of that, you need to change yours.
The reality is nobody gives a fuck about your opinion, not yours, but everyone on there. So you're crying about your fuck, this, that, like, nobody cares, right? If your content, like, if someone's bitching and like, I'm so offended, I'm gonna fucking block that because like I don't care. Give a fuck, right?
Right. Now, on the flip side of that, though, if a lot of the things that I talk about on here, though, is that it doesn't mean, I take back what I just said. It doesn't mean that I don't care, right? I actually do love to hear other people's point of view, even if I disagree with them, because as a very general blanket statement, I think most people, not all, but most people are trying to come from a good place, maybe just misguided, right? And I might not agree with what they're saying. And I think that if we were able to have more conversations like that, we could change things like that you're trying to fight for, right? And if people would be willing to have, because those people that you want to get to listen to you, they're saying, fuck you, I don't care what you have to say because I have my agenda of what I'm doing and that's the only thing that matters, right? And you just want to be heard, right? To have a conversation.
I don't mind. So I'll go on like Twitter and stuff and actually go, like, I have no followers and I'll just go in there and they'll let them gut me. And I've changed people. I've switched people over. Like, they're like, hey man, he's right. Like, I'm just trying to show you a different side. I don't go and tell you that you're wrong or stupid, but I put my videos out. You can call me whatever you want, but I've changed people's opinion about, well, they can see the difference, right? So for Mr. Freedom and that stuff, like, it's very political.
Yeah.
But people, right? I always find that they want to be offended. So it's me, I'm offended. Like, and it just became this thing. So they can denounce anything you said because they're offended.
Right.
So even if you're fucking right, well, I'm offended, you're wrong. So it's this scapegoat everyone's using.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm a roofer. I'm like, if you're probably not going to offend me with anything. You can call me all that. I've heard it all.
I've heard it all.
Right. I mean,
like, what are you going to call me that I haven't called myself?
Yeah. Oh, and that's, I got thousands of videos to prove it. Right.
Right. What is your favorite video that you've made?
My favorite video that I've made, and I've told several people what this is, and there's a lot of them. I've made over I'm saying around 1,500 videos. Okay. And 500 have been deleted. We're probably around 1,000 right now in our content. Okay. But my favorite video was my Mr. Freedom video. When I went to Ottawa and I was trying to bring awareness on the actual situation, and there was a group of women from probably ages late 60s to 90s. And these women, I'm fucking red paint and a fur coat. Who wants a hug? And there's these women, they're just dying to give somebody a hug. They probably had grandkids they haven't seen in 2 years because they were locked in their old age home. And I just went and gave these women a group hug. And the last woman, she was the oldest one, and she was just shaking, waiting to hug me.
Really?
And I got this video, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing. My goal was to give as many people as hugs as possible to make people feel better, because humans need to see their face, they need to see smiles, and they need human contact. And that's one of the best videos. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, that was my whole purpose of going to Ottawa. That's how it started, was to just give out hugs. That's what I told my dad. Like, I'm going out and just fucking hugging everybody to show that you won't get sick and die. You won't die from a virus. It's okay to touch people. Like, we're not vile right now with this disease. And I did it. We did it for a whole year. I hugged over hundreds of thousands of people. I'm still here.
That's amazing.
Right?
I would like everybody to realize that out of the thousands of videos that you made that are all fucking hilarious and like so well produced and well put together, and the time taken to script them and write your fucking songs, which I could never do, like just amazing shit, that the thing that is the most important to you and your favorite moment was going to a place to give out hugs.
Yeah, it was.
Right? But that's real, man.
You asked me, yeah.
Right? But that's fucking real.
Yeah,
right? And I think people need to know that. Like people know that you're, you are who you are, whatever. But like, I want people to know at the end of the day that like Josh is a good fucking dude that cares about shit and wants to make changes.
That's me, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, that's why I'm drawn to you. I give zero fucks about BDR and fucking jumping around and, Joshy the Snowman and all that shit. Blowman, sorry, whatever. But like, I give zero fucks about that. Like, I want to know Josh, like who Josh is at his core and like what he really cares about. And like, that makes me happy. Like, that's 100% like how I want to start kind of wrapping up this is because I love that. And awesome. And thank you for sharing that with me. Well, you
asked me the question. No one's really asked me that before, but I've shared that video. Like, that's my favorite video of all times. Yeah. It's just a hand bomb one. It was organic.
But it was important to you.
Very important.
It was important to you and you cared about it. Like, it was a big deal. Okay. So the way that we wrap up all of our episodes is, generally speaking, when I have somebody on, I write down a couple of notes, whatever, and we riff, but there's always something that either I forget to bring up or there is something that when a guest comes in, they got something back of their head going, I hope he brings this up and we'll talk about it. And I always give the floor back for the last few minutes to the guests if they have anything that they either want to reiterate that we talked about or bring up so everybody can get something from it at the end.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yes, I love putting you on the spot.
All right.
You're a fucking professional. Act like it.
I just really appreciate you bringing me on the show and getting to talk. I usually don't get too many opportunities like with someone's channel they always want the BDR. They want to know. So it's really nice that we got to talk about, a little bit deeper into my life. And I really appreciate you as well. I see, I follow you and with your daughter and your ice cream days and all that stuff. So like we really connect on this, I feel that we connect on the same level.
On a real level.
Real level, right? Yeah. Authentic level.
Yeah,
big time. Yeah. So I just want to say I appreciate you, buddy, all the hard work you're doing.
Thank you.
I am looking forward to sharing this on my channel and
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing great, and we need more people in the industry to talk about our industry, talk about our feelings, talk about what we've done, and build people up, right?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I also want to note that this is the second interview where we've had ass noise for the entire fucking interview. Coda Ivers was the other one. What did it sound like? He was fucking something, or it was awful. Yeah, but like it had leather seats, and it sounded like, yeah. But so you got the fuck chair today.
Is the show over yet?
And end it the way you need to. Yeah.
I'll end it all right. Cut.
All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Josh, thank you for being here. Thank you for being real. Thank you for telling real stories. Everybody, I mean, y'all fucking watch his shit anyway, but make sure you subscribe to his shit after you subscribe to mine. And thanks again for being here. And remember, everybody, be authentic. Get the fuck out.
You can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.